Many people have not been laughing at your video, particularly at phrases like "vote for me so we can kick every dirty Muslim out of Texas." If you had a Muslim candidate in Texas saying "vote for me so we can kick every dirty Christian out of Texas," you would rightly, I imagine, be outraged at that. Why do you think it's acceptable to use a phrase like "so we can kick every dirty Muslim out of Texas"?
In today's segment, things get heated fast as Piers Morgan questions a Texas congressional candidate about her recent comments, and the conversation immediately spirals into accusations, constitutional arguments, and a very tense back and forth. I will let the clip play so you can hear it exactly as it happened.
Good morning, Piers, and since you didn't have the decency of introducing me correctly, I'll happily do it. Good morning to all of my beautiful people in England. Hello to all of my lads in the UK. Last time I was there, I had an amazing time. I'm Valentina Gomez. I will be the next congresswoman for the state of Texas, and I'm a warrior of the one true King Jesus Christ. And England and Piers, the United States and England was built by white Christian men that follow Jesus Christ, not by a bunch of Mohammeds. So let's get that cleared out right away.
Right. You haven't answered my question. Why do you, if it was the other way around, you would be rightly outraged. Why do you think it's acceptable as somebody running for office in the United States to be so blatantly, why would you be so blatantly hateful towards one group of people?
You call it hateful and bigotry and racist and all of that garbage. I call it the truth. America is a Christian nation. These Muslims come to Christian nations, burn our churches, rape our women, shoot our American soldiers point blank, killing one of them in broad daylight, then chanting Allahu Akbar. Piers, my brother is a National Guardsman. He literally puts himself on the line for this nation. So yes, these dirty Muslims have no place in America and have no place in England.
This is where the discussion shifts from policy into a broader accusation, and that's why the response changes in this next section. Watch how the panel reacts to the tone rather than just the words.
But as you speak, you see, I'm just seeing a brazen Islamophobe, and people say that phrase doesn't exist. It doesn't, and I'm sure you find it funny, but I think you can make perfectly pertinent points about what's happened here without descending into such vile hatred towards an entire religion. And there are 5 million Muslims in the United States. Why would you want to categorize them in such a grotesque manner?
Oh, and those 5 million Muslims should definitely go back to their 56 Muslim nations. And let's get something very clear right now in your little show, Piers. I don't fear the groomers. I don't fear the pedophiles. I don't fear the corrupt politicians. And I definitely do not fear the dirty Muslims.
Let me bring in...
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
No.
I mean, we should be clear about the fact. I mean, sure, Valentina is just a bigot, plain and simple, engages in the worst kinds of bigotry imaginable. But it's worth noting that she's fundamentally un-American because the American Constitution says that you cannot discriminate against people based on religion. That is pretty clear. And so she's engaging in an anti-American campaign in the name of protecting America, which is just irony beyond imagination. So yes, she's a charlatan. She doesn't know what she's talking about. You can tell by looking at her that her IQ hovers around room temperature.
Once the panel moves into personal attacks, the conversation stops being about the issues and becomes about each other. That shift happens right here.
To me, the real scandal is not engaging with her directly because she's beneath taking seriously. But the problem is with the GOP, that you have a major party in this country having a candidate running under its flagship, engaging in this kind of really incredibly hateful, incendiary rhetoric, and they do nothing about it. We've seen it with the dissent with Donald Trump himself, with the lawlessness that he has brought to the table and the corruption that he's allowed to get away with, without the party really standing up and putting country before party and before president. And you can see that slippery slope now leading to this level, where you have just a complete hateful clown like this person representing that party without the party objecting to it.
Yeah, you know what?
Leading us towards a very, very dark place in this country.
I actually completely.
All right.
I completely agree with you. There are perfectly legitimate.
No, Piers. And to
well,
the other
I actually do agree with him. I think your brazen bigotry is obvious.
Let's make something very clear, Piers. Yeah. I only discriminate against terrorists. These terrorists have no place in America. They have no place in the world. And the best type of terrorist is a dead terrorist. And let's look at your Quran. Your Quran 8:12 states to terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. And that Afghani, that dirty Muslim that killed Sarah Beckstrom.
It doesn't actually say that, and this is the problem.
And Andrew Wolf, who is
all right, let me bring in Kasim
yeah,
Rashid. Welcome to Uncensored. If you'd like to say what you want to say.
Yeah, I co-sign everything Omar said there. And I think fundamentally this is where we are as a country, where rather than talking about real serious issues, we have these firebrands. I think she ran in Missouri, got 7%, moved to Texas to try to lose there as well. Look, the reality is that, we need to look at the facts here. And the facts tell us that immigration is a net positive in every single way to this country. The facts tell us, a Northwestern University study of the last 150 years found that at no point in American history have immigrants had a higher crime rate than born U.S. citizens. We're talking about Somalia, and we're talking about Minnesota. Well, Minnesota is the 4th best state in the country to start a business and to live and to work. It's the 15th safest state in the country as well. And so, the difference here is that we want the constitutional principles of due process of law to apply. And this idea that we're a Christian nation is contradicted by the founders of this country itself. We are actually a secular democratic republic where people can believe or not believe as they wish without oppression. And I think it's critically important that whatever our political differences, we stand united on this basic principle that human dignity, human rights, religious freedom must be protected, even for those with whom I disagree, because at the end of the day, that's what the First Amendment requires, that's what the Constitution requires. If we lose that principle, then we deteriorate into fascism and anarchy, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Rob O'Neill, what do you feel about this? I do feel that rhetoric matters when we talk about these things. I do think that some of the language we've just heard from one of the other panelists is outrageous, appalling, disgusting, bigoted. It just should be called out for what it is, whether you're on the left or right. It makes a difference to me. But what do you feel about this? I just feel these debates should be had without descending into blanket bigotry.
Well, debates should be had, but I also believe in the First Amendment. You should be able to say whatever you want.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but that gives me the right to call it out.
Well, it's designed to protect speech you hate, and I would much rather someone be telling me exactly how they feel than like people in Washington do, tell me what I think I need to hear, and then go behind my back and commit massive fraud. I want to hear. You can say whatever you want. Someone who's been canceled, myself, say what you want, but deal with the consequences as they come, justified or not. That's just how it is. But the conversation is needed. Even on forgive me, but one of the guests called the Afghan part of a death squad is someone who spent a lot of time with this particular pursuit team, but they were actually called the counterterror pursuit team. I don't know. We don't have death squads, so that's ridiculous. That's violent rhetoric right there itself. But he should be able to say it just when people like me who have been places like that realize, well, this guy's obviously doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right, that's the full exchange. Let me know your thoughts. Does this kind of debate help, or does it just make the conversation harder to have? If you're enjoying these breakdowns, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.